Hello, shiny humans. Welcome. Thanks for making it to the mat and for watching this video. So today I was going to teach a class in the park, but unfortunately it rained. So I decided to make a little video so that people could bring the practice to their homes. I could bring the practice to their homes. Today we're going to do a slow restorative flow practice. So we're going to be holding the postures for a few minutes at a time and really working into the fascia, into the connective tissue of the body, and just kind of restoring and rejuvenating ourselves. I thought it'd be nice to do a practice that it's kind of like rainy day. It's kind of like cuddling yourself up and just sort of accepting whatever's there. So you might be like pinging around with energy, you might be feeling kind of low and flat, but hopefully this will bring a little bit of balance either way. So because we're doing a yin practice, you might want to grab a couple of pillows. You can use like bed pillows or kind of mini pillows that you can stack into a line. It's kind of up to you. And a blanket is also nice. This could be to sort of prop under our knees, and I'll give instructions when like we want to use props. Or alternately, sometimes I think it's quite nice to put a little bit of a container around yourself, especially in some of the more kind of like downward, inward facing postures that can make us feel a little bit vulnerable sometimes. I think it's kind of nice just to have a blanket to play around with, really. So those are the things. So without further ado, let us begin. We're going to start by coming into a cross-legged position. So just crossing the knees, the ankles, and closing the eyes, placing the palms up on the knees, extending out through the crown of the head, maybe slightly tucking the tailbone and extending the belly, rolling the shoulders back. Just taking a few breaths with our eyes closed, coming to meet ourselves in the mat. Often when I arrive here, my mind is kind of where I'm going to go after, or where I've been before, or kind of well-round thoughts and maybe some anxieties. Alternately you might be feeling really ready to hit the mat, but I think it's always nice to kind of just take a moment to center and ground yourself before you begin your practice. So just inhaling, noticing your belly rise, and exhaling, letting your belly fall. Just really anchoring yourself in this present moment, making a kind of commitment just to accept and notice whatever comes up throughout this practice, allowing your breath to guide you from a journey from the external in your body to the internal world of your mind, maybe your spirit, just to that soft little place that we're going to travel to inside today. Taking one more inhale. And exhale and sign it out. And then gently opening the eyes, softening the gaze. And first we're going to come to a lying down position. So it's kind of a nice way to start. Ease yourself into it. So we're going to bring the feet together, taking the arms up over the head with the palms facing the ceiling. You can just have a little stretch out, if that feels good. And then we're going to gently walk the feet over to the left hand side of the mat. So just walking our feet to the point that feels comfortable. And then we can either, option 1, to take opposite elbows over the top of our head. Option 2, to bring the arms down with the elbows at a 90-degree angle, cactusing the arms either side of you. Or option 3, just to leave the arms over the head. Whatever feels best in your shoulders. Remember, we're not kind of straining or pushing, but whatever sort of stretch feels good for you, really, just having a play around. So we're going to walk the feet over to the left hand side. Option to cross the ankle over if we want to deepen the stretch through the right hand side of the body. And then we're going to slowly scooch our shoulders a little bit over to the left hand side too. So we're coming into banana pose and making the shape of a banana. You really want to feel this stretch up through the right body. So maybe from the right hip up into the rib cage, up into the shoulder. If you really notice into the sensations, you might feel a little bit in your right leg, in your right calf, in your right ankle. And the focus here is just to gently stretch, just to kind of get our minds into the space of being on the mat. Inhaling into the right body and exhaling, just relaxing down, ensuring that both shoulders are still in contact with the mat. Maybe you want to close your eyes here. Maybe you want to soften your gaze and choose something to focus on, choosing your drishti. And just really feeling into the shape of this posture. Almost using the postures as a template, just to check in with where your body and your mind are today. Taking a few breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling, enjoying that stretch. Feeling the earth beneath you holding you. And exhaling, releasing any tension that you might be carrying. Inhaling one more time. Exhaling. And then slowly, when you're ready, you're going to uncross the ankles if they were crossed. Walking the feet back to the centre of the mat, having two ankles together. Just checking up to see if your body's all in one line, so making sure your hips and your ankles and your legs are all stacked. And then we're going to slowly scooch our shoulders a little bit back to the middle and walk our feet over to the left hand side of the mat. Left hand side? No, we're going to walk our feet over to the right hand side of the mat. So just scooching until you find a spot that's comfy. And then either keeping hold of the opposite elbows. This might be too much for the shoulders, so again, having the arms at a 90-degree angle, cactusing out beside you. Or alternately, if you want a little bit more stretch in the front shoulders, then you can extend the arms up straight behind your head. And then we're going to again just wriggle our shoulders a little bit over to the right. So we're getting this lovely banana shape in our body. Almost as if the left hand side of the body was filled with helium. So imagine that your rib cage had a helium balloon in it and it's extending up, over, bringing your shoulder over to the right hand side, keeping both shoulders flat on the floor. And then option to cross the left ankle over the right leg. Really feeling into that stretch, whatever feels right for you today. And just breathing into the left hand side of the body. Just enjoying melting down into the mat. Noticing any sensations that arise. Practicing non-judgment. Ahimsa, non-harming. Just being really gentle with ourselves. Inhaling into the left body. And exhaling, melting down, feeling the floor meeting. The earth rising to meet you. Maybe you want to close the eyes. Just relaxing here with the sound of the rain. If it's raining where you are, eh? Maybe you want to sigh it out. Really feeling the benefit of this stretch. Moving into the connective tissue of the body. Not so much stretching the muscles themselves, but stretching all the nuts and bolts and the connections between them. Really just relaxing ourselves, being kind to ourselves. Taking a few more inhales and exhales. Inhaling deeply through the nose. Exhaling. Taking one more breath. And exhaling. Slowly walking the feet back to the middle, bringing the ankles together and crossing the legs. Walking the shoulders back into the centre line, unfolding the arms. And then we're going to roll over onto one side. And then we're going to roll again over onto our belly. And then we're going to bring our chest down towards the ground. And so option one here, if you've maybe got sore knees or your hips are a little bit tight, then feel free to take a pillow and just pop it next to your body. Now what we're going to do is we're going to keep our bodies facing down towards the mat, so chest on the ground, feet in one line on the ground. And then we're going to bring our right knee up so it's on an axis, maybe to a 90-degree axis with our body, with a 90-degree bend in the knee. This will bring the stretch a little bit higher up into your back. If this is too much for you in your glutes or in your inner thighs, then you can always bring the knee down a little bit, just to gently work into your lower back. And then bringing the left ear to the mat. Again, we're going to have our arms, our upper arms are on the same line as our shoulders, and then our elbows are in a 90-degree angle with the palms facing down. Bringing the knee out to the right hand side of the body at whatever height feels good for you. Maybe you've got your pillow there, maybe you don't. Again, totally your choice. And then we're just going to relax down into the mat. You're sensing the theme of relaxation. So it's nice to do a yin practice, because although you're doing something really, really positive for yourself and for your body, and you're replenishing and restoring and sending new blood and oxygen to all of your different muscles around the body, you also just get to relax, And I think there's time for kind of concentrated replenishment, concentrated you time on the container of the mat where you can just let yourself be is so important. Just feeling into that back buttock on the right hand side. Breathing into any places where we might be feeling tension. Really softening towards the ground. We want to take our inhale to anywhere that we feel tight. And use our exhale just to relieve that tension. Just to sigh out. Inhaling and exhaling. Working here into the reproductive organs, gently into the digestive system as the stomach presses against the ground. Working into any tightness that we might feel in our hamstrings, in our buttocks, in our inner thighs. Often lots of quite tight, scrunched emotions can get stored. And it's really nice just to let these unwind, unravel and unfold. Being with ourselves. Holding here for a few more breaths. Inhaling into the glutes, into the buttocks and the thighs. Exhaling, release. Taking one more breath. Exhaling. Slowly bringing the right knee down, so both legs are flat on the floor. And then again, if you wanted your pillow on this side too, bring the pillow underneath the knee, bringing the left knee up to the left side of the body. And then we've got the knee at a 90-degree angle. I can either keep the knee a little bit further down, maybe a 45-degree angle is more comfortable if you have lower back pain. But if you want a little bit more of a stretch, bringing the knee up to the left-hand side to a 90-degree angle with the body and the buttocks. And then we're going to again bring our arms at a 90-degree angle on either side of our body. Bring our right ear to the mat. Taking an exhale and just surrendering. Really releasing into this. And allowing yourself to be curious. I think often we can take yoga or meditation or spirituality very seriously, but it's nice to bring a little bit of an element of play and curiosity to it. I think it's a lot easier not to judge yourself for not fitting the ideal template of a body, of a posture, and just to surrender, I guess, to the thoughts and feelings and emotions that come up. And if we're able to have that little bit of play and curiosity in the practice, then, none of it seems so kind of serious anymore. We're able to face it all with a little bit more good humour. Just surrendering to ourselves and accepting what we find there. Come into that special quiet place inside. Maybe we want to close the eyes here. As we inhale into the left hip And exhale, easing it open. Just finding some softness, some quietness, a place where you're holding yourself. Taking a few more breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then bringing that knee slowly down, coming out of the posture as we went in. And then we're going to bring our arms underneath this. We're going to push up, bringing the knees to the width of the mat. Might want to move your pillows out of the way. And then we're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders, spreading the palms wide. We're just going to take a little bit of dynamic movement. So if you push your buttocks back towards your heels, and then inhaling, pushing the body forward, bringing the chest a little bit through the arms. So you're opening the shoulders out, you're externally rotating the shoulders back behind you. And then you can push the pelvis a little bit forward if that feels good for you, almost creating a sense of traction from your tailbone up into your spine, maintaining the kind of curvature of your lower back, but keeping the shoulders broad and the rib cage inflated. And then inhale, push the hips back. Exhale, push the hips forward. Inhale, push the hips back. Exhale, pushing forward. And feel free here just to kind of wriggle out. Again, getting a little bit playful, a little bit inquisitive. Maybe you want to come round to one side. Maybe you want to bend the elbows, bring the chest to the ground, pushing forward. Maybe you just want to sit back and come into a child's pose, bringing your forehead to the ground, hips to the heels, knees spread wide. Whatever you think your body needs in this moment, whatever feels intuitively good for you, just kind of breathing and feeling into that. There's no right or wrong here. And ultimately, your body is the best teacher. You know, anybody else can give you their wisdom, but really, they're only showing you the wisdom inside of yourself. And that wisdom exists within your body. You know, you'll intuitively feel and know what is right for you. So, then we're going to come with the knees stacked underneath the hips. We're going to come down onto our elbows. And then option here first to grab opposite elbows. So clasping the palm of our hand to our elbow, keeping the knees stacked under the hips, turning the tailbone up to the sky, and then keeping the chest broad so we're not completely collapsing. We've kind of got a sense of broadness from the front of our chest, the front of our rib cage, all the way back into the back of our rib cage. So we're inflating from side to side of the rib cage and back to front of the rib cage, finding almost a little space of soft hollowness at the back of the heart. Then we're going to gently push back into the hips. Option to remain here, gently easing down the chest. So now we're sending the chest more towards the ground. You can always walk the knees a little bit back depending on where the stretch in your back, your lower back feels good for you. Option then to extend the arms out in front of you, palms flat on the floor, bringing the forehead down to the mat. And just breathing and feeling into the spine, making any little adjustments that feel good for you. And, you know, if you have lower back issues or a slipped disc or anything like that, just ensuring that you tuck the, you want to curve and almost imagine that your pelvis is like a soup bowl. So you want to bring like a little bit of an inward rotation of the pelvis whilst you're going into this posture. And if you have any pain, then just back off and come and lie face down on the mat. Just really feeling into what's right for you. If this feels good, then you can continue to deepen, stretching your chest down towards the ground, sending the forehead towards the ground in lizard pose. And using this moment with your forehead to the earth, with your third eye point making contact to the ground, just to thank yourself for everything that you do. Just taking a little moment to say thanks for making it to the mat. I find often the hardest bit is actually getting myself there. Once I get going into it, I'm alright. But it is that commitment that sometimes is a little bit hard to keep. The more we know, eh? So just inhaling and exhaling, feeling into the backs of the legs. Relaxing the hamstrings, relaxing the buttocks, relaxing the lower back, the shoulders. Just softly melting into the ground, feeling the stretch in our shoulder blades, allowing our hearts to open in this backward bend. Inhaling and exhaling. Then when you're ready, clasping hold of your opposite elbows once again. And then slowly walking your hands so you come back into an all fours position with your hands underneath your shoulders, palms spread wide, knees underneath the hips. And then we're going to step our right foot between our palms, and we're going to maybe scooch the left knee back a little bit until we feel the right amount of stretch in our back, right glute, in our buttocks. So maybe you want the knee a little bit more forward, maybe you don't want such an intense stretch, you want your knee in a 90-degree bend. Maybe you want a little bit more, so you send the left knee back. And then option to stay here, just feeling into the hips, breathing into the stretch on the inner thighs. Option to bring your elbows up onto your knee, clasping hold of your opposite elbow so you get a little bit more of a stretch in your lower back. Inhaling and exhaling. Trying to work with our discomfort, to work with our tightness. Bringing to the breath in any areas where we might be experiencing discomfort. Using the breath as our bridge between the mind and the body. Often our mind starts to scream at us and go, no, this hurts. But if we bring our focus and our awareness back to the breath, bring the breath into the entire shape that the body is making, then we're able to find a little bit of a detachment from those sensations of maybe unpleasantness or discomfort. And in turn, this kind of informs us in our lives. You know, if we're able to use the breath to breathe into that space, breathe into those feelings, breathe into that discomfort, then we can kind of detach ourselves and it not have such a hold over us anymore. If this is too much for you and you're ready to come down, you can bring your hands either side of your foot. Just take one more inhale and an exhale. And then we're going to push our hips back. So again, they're stacked above our knees. We're going to bring our heel to the mat, sending our toes back towards our nose. And we're just going to do a counter stretch. So we're going to be keeping our spine as straight as possible, either keeping the knee bent, keeping the chest down towards the mat, or alternately, if you want a little bit more of a stretch in your hamstring, you can bring the legs straight, keeping the spine as straight as possible. And then we're going to bring our knee back underneath our right hip, bringing our palms flat to the mat. We're going to do the same on the other side. So we're stepping the left foot in between the two palms. Maybe scooching the right knee back a little bit if we want more of an intense stretch in the inside of our thighs. And then we're going to just feel into this. If this is a little bit uncomfortable under your knee, then feel free to take a pillow under your right knee. That can also kind of make this feel a bit more comfy. Just playing around with what feels right again. And then inhaling, exhaling, maybe rolling the right hip slightly down. We've got a 90-degree bend in our front leg, so our knee is at a right angle. And then option to come up onto the elbows, propping yourself up on your left knee, grabbing hold of your opposite elbows, stretching into the lower back, broadening the shoulders, chin parallel to the ground. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling into the glutes, feeling into the thighs, only going as far as is comfortable and honouring where we're at today. Inhale and exhaling. An option to come back down onto the hands, spreading the palms wide, taking a moment here. And then on your next inhale, slowly bringing the hips back above the heels, back above the knees, sorry. And then sending the toes towards the nose, bringing your heel to the mat and straightening the leg out in front of you. Option to have the knee bent and to bring the chest a little bit more down towards the ground, making sure that your shoulders are parallel to the front of the mat. Option to straighten the leg out, so we're sending the stretch more into the quadriceps. Inhaling, bringing the toes towards the nose. and exhaling, softening into the posture. Inhale for strength and exhale for softness. And then we're going to slowly walk our hands back down so they're underneath our shoulders, bringing the left knee back under the left hip. And then option to take just a little child's pose here. So we're bringing our bum to our heels, bringing our knees to the width of the mat. Just walking the hands out in front of us, stretching the fingertips wide, stretching the shoulders, bringing the forehead down to the mat. Taking a deep breath here. Just having a little moment of softness with ourselves before our final posture. And then when you're ready, if you walk back up, you want to sit on your knees. And then this is the point where you might want your pillows, where you will need your pillows, and maybe your blanket. And you kind of want to make like a sort of log shape. So you want a sort of fairly long, thin lump. Don't worry if you've only got kind of flat pillows like this, that also works fine. You kind of want it to be about the shape of the length of your spine. And perhaps you want to have a pillow at the front just for your head and neck to rest on, just so they're not too much lower down than the way that your back will be held open. And then we're going to roll over, we're going to come onto our backs. So we want our little pillow prop bolster to be at the base of our spine. We're going to lie back onto this little pillow fortress that we made. Then bring the arms out to either side of the body. So really relaxing the shoulders down, allowing the chest to fall gently open. Option here to bring the soles of the feet together so that the knees spread wide either side of you. If you want a little bit more of a stretch in your hips and your knees, then this will be good for you. You can always bring something like a pillow underneath your two knees if this was a little bit too much on the hips. Or option just to extend the legs straight out in front of you, bringing them to about the width of the mat and letting the feet splay open. And then we're just going to gently let ourselves rest and melt down onto the pillows, allowing our hearts to open, allowing ourselves to melt and relax, knowing that we are held in this moment, knowing that we are safe, knowing that we are always with and held by ourselves, and that this space of quiet exists for us to come back to at any moment that we might need it. Just really melting into that feeling of your heart opening, allowing your buttocks to relax, allowing your lower back to relax, keeping the chest holding open. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Softening, untangling and unfolding. Letting go of our day, of the past, letting go of the future, of the abstractions in our mind, and just noticing what floats to the surface here, watching what comes and what goes, holding yourself in a little space of acceptance. And then option to gently unfold the legs, spreading them out in front of you if you've had them with your feet, the soles of your feet together. And we're going to go into our final relaxation, which I'm going to guide you through. So you can either stay here with the bolster, the pillows underneath your back, or if you prefer, you can take the pillows out from underneath you, get your blanket, Get cozy, wrap yourself up underneath it. And we're going to do a final shavasana just to absorb all of the goodness that we've accumulated, all of the prana that we've generated in our bodies, so we can allow it to move to where it needs to be within us. Healing and restoring, maybe re-energizing us. Just noticing how the body feels. Does it feel different to before you came onto the mat? Some places feel more tense, some more loose. Are you a little bit more relaxed in your mind? Are you a little bit warmer, quieter, softer? Just noticing. And closing the eyes, softening the gaze if the eyes aren't already closed. Unrolling the shoulders underneath us. Letting the hips splay out either side, maybe shuffling the buttocks out underneath you. Maybe crunching the shoulders, just any other little adjustments that make this feel really, really good for you. Kind of allow you to completely relax and melt into the ground. And then I'm going to go through each body part, listing from toe to head. And as I name each body part, just bringing awareness into that place. Bringing awareness into it and then completely relaxing it. Bringing awareness into the toes, into the soles of the feet, the heels, ankles, calves, back of the legs, front of the thighs, hips, lower back, middle back, upper back, belly, chest, shoulders, neck, relaxing the fingertips, the wrists, the lower arms, upper arms, into the shoulders and the neck, bringing awareness to the top of the head, relaxing the scalp, the forehead, tip of the nose, jaw, relaxing the whole face, relaxing the whole body awareness, whole body relax, and relax. And noticing the way that the mind is like the sky. The thoughts maybe are clouds, eddying and swirling through the mind. Maybe they're slow, maybe they're fast, thick and dense or thin and light. Just noticing these clouds in the sky. Noticing the way that underneath the mind is a blank, expansive canvas. These clouds are just floating through it. Only temporary, transient. Allowing yourself just to sink more deeply into the ground. Feeling the earth rising up to meet you. Noticing the breath. Bringing your awareness into the breath. Just easing into ourselves. Finding a space of acceptance. Fully relaxing. And gently bringing awareness back into the toes. Maybe moving them internally with an energetic wiggle first. Then moving our muscles. Wriggling our fingertips. Bringing some movement into the arms. Maybe taking a stretch. Whatever feels good. And then slowly, when you're ready, rolling over onto the side of the body. Slowly pushing yourself up with one arm. Coming to meet in a cross-legged position. Bringing the palms together in the centre of the chest and closing the eyes. Giving thanks to all those that came before us. All those that taught us these ancient methods of understanding ourselves deeper. Of working with the body, the mind and the breath. Of the ancient knowledge passed on that we have practiced here today. And sending a little bit of love to all the people in your life, all the people that hold and support you, all the people that love you, sharing themselves with you and you with them. Sending a little bit of love maybe to the strangers in the world, to the animals and the plants, or whatever feels good for you to send some love to. And then finally, realizing that all of these things are a part of you, a part of the fabric of life that we're intrinsically woven into, and sending yourself some love. Thank you for practicing with me. Namaste. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.